Hi,
Hello,
I'm Pat Squirrel.
and I'm the Cybernetic Pig, and
And
this
this
is
is
the
the
Godpunks.
Godpunks.
Warning: this show is not fit for human consumption. It may contain foul language, gratuitous violence, ugly sex, intergalactic drug use, and crippling existential dread. And orgies. There may be orgies. Children, please exit the building. This show is not for you. In which we meet Corpse Bottom. Corpse Bottom bites down on the old Buick's back bumper and wiggles her eyebrows at Bob. She is known the world's over for her great beauty and furious appetites, and she knows it. She is 3.5 feet tall and the smallest smidge above 2.5 feet wide. Her hair is as red as the car's original coat, in its heyday, dyed each week in the blood of lesser wee folk, with her hairdresser, Deacon D, donating just a bit of his own silver tears to really make it shine. He even insists she milks them, pinching his lean upper arm with her toenails until he cries out in pain. Or something. Deacon D really is a lovely imp, she muses, enjoying the taste of mudded metal in her mouth. He is certainly in love with Corpsey. Everyone is a little in love with Corpsey, after all. Even, she suspects, her boss Lucy, master of darkness and hot pockets and everything badly good and goodly bad. Except Bob. Bob vexes Corpse Bottom. He cannot see her yet, so he does not love her yet. And though she was wrong, despite the fact that her playful attack on his car did frighten Bob delightfully, ultimately it failed to open his sweet brown eyes to her being. He choked it up to earthquake or manquake or some other banality. But Corpsey will not give up. She does not give up. Ever. That's why Lucy hired her to run HR. Get the demons behaving. She's no quitter. Corpse Bottom snaps her jaws down, clips a chunk from the metal, chews it thoughtfully, and listens to Bob's very, very, very sexy, high-pitched screams. When I met Frank, I thought he was Jesus. He had this long brown hair and thin, strong body and skin that was somewhere between burnt umber and amber, luminescent like gold. And I was very, very, very high and drunk. Off the water, he just turned into wine. So it was an honest mistake. That afternoon, when we fucked in the bathroom at the Jones Creek Taco Taquito, and I called out, "Dear God, Jesus in heaven," right there, I'm telling you, he answered me like I'd said his name. But he wasn't Jesus. As good as he looked, and wow, he was salty goodness with a core of pure caramel bliss, topped with a heaping spoonful of holy shit, that man God is hot. Frank was much, much too old to be Jesus. And he had an anger problem that was anything but Christ-like. The first time I saw Frank smite a guy was maybe 2 weeks into our, what would you call it, fling? I mean, no. Honestly, no. On, off, and on, and off, and on, and off, and on, and off, and on, and off again thing that lasts for, maybe 105 years. 110 at the most. I mean maybe 12, is really a fling. We had gotten our hands on some primo shrooms from Frank's buddy, Dave. Dude let us pluck them right off of his back. Can you believe the connections this guy had? Anyway, we were just about to dose in the Fortuna Mall parking lot. This was maybe 16 years after the bankruptcy. No, I guess you wouldn't remember that. It hasn't happened yet. Anyway, place was, abandoned. Just a beautiful span of glittering, splintering concrete and faded yellow stripes and crackheads. Frank loved crackheads. They could see his true form, so he really brought out the best in them, and they brought out the worst in him all.
I am a goddamn universe eater, bitches. I shit bigger planets than this out before breakfast.
Real braggy. Real happy to be Frank. The Dave shrooms did nothing for this aspect of Frank's personality, but he really likes to go down on them, so I'm okay with it, honestly. He gets into this argument with an abandoned 1972 Cadillac with gold spinners. Real pretty boat of a car. Sad to see it go to rust. Poor thing is just parked there, all lopsided with 2 flats, and Frank starts talking shit. And I guess the caddy wasn't having any of it, wasn't, properly impressed or something. At least that's what I gathered from Frank's side of the yelling match. And Frank, he just loses his mind.
Oh, you want to see it?
He says, hopping from one foot to the other.
Will that make you happy, you piece of disbeliever shit? You want me to show you?
The caddy sat there. Frank's vibrating get worse. Me, I got real mellow on Dave's shrooms, but Frank was easy to rile up on them. The caddy definitely had his number.
All right then. Pick one. You want me to show you? You gotta be able to pick one. Blood on your hands, you creepy fuck. Not on mine.
Frank's hopping and vibrating are so fast now, I can't look at him. And when I do, the bile rises and I lose my taquitos. And since I'm far too far from the sick bucket, it gets all over my Steve Maddens. Like, Frank's moving so fast, he's phasing in and out of our reality. Sound isn't working right. Light isn't working right. He's that angry. The caddy sits there.
Not Joe. No. No!
Frank says. He might be crying now. I can't be sure, because when I try to get a glimpse of his face, it's just taquito time again. My stomach cramps real hard. It's so empty. I won't risk another look.
Joe is my friend. Pick someone else,
Frank says. Joe is one of the crackheads. I look over at him. He's heard his name and is coming over. Him and Frank never seemed especially tight, but Frank can be real hard to read about stuff like that. The caddy sits there.
I can have friends. You don't know me,
Frank says. And I think the caddy so does know you. Being a Godman makes it real hard for Frank to connect with humans in any real way. He has trouble with empathy, and we are really small to him. Physically small. Frank seems the same size as us, but he isn't. He's so big, so unfathomably big. Take the biggest thing you can imagine. Jupiter, the sun, the universe, and compound that. Compound it again. Again. He's so big, so immense, it's like his size just comes around again to ours. That's the best I can explain it. It'd be like if I tried to connect with, not a single-celled organism, not its mitochondria, not its atoms, not even its neurons, or its quirks, but something a gazillion times smaller than that. I'd have trouble making real friends too. We've only been doing our thing for 2 weeks at this point, remember? But I already know about Frank's difficulty with making human connections. He's a lonely god. But if he says he and Joe are friends, I believe him. Frank is incapable of outright full-on lying as far as I can tell. I've never witnessed him do it, not in all these years. He'll fudge and dance around truth, but a pure lie? No. So there in the parking lot, the concrete beneath him stained with patches of old leaked oil, Frank sounding sort of like he might be sobbing, furious and sad and tripping his balls off, Frank protests. The caddy sits there. Frank says,
"Fine then."
And he smites Joe. I wish I could tell you it was some sort of beautiful death, but it was death. Painful death. That's not beautiful even when a Godman does it. Even on Dave's shrooms.
Hi.
Oh, I forgot we were doing it. Sorry. Start over.
All right.